Here are 5 things that you need to do to be a consistent ball striker with your irons. Get more consistency, less fats and thins, less toe and heel strikes, and start getting nice gaps in between them all. So number 1 to kick things off is how you set up. Your posture is super important. It's not the in-trend thing that you would see on social media, but good posture is so important. If you can set up good, have your body in a good position, that allows for you to rotate in posture throughout the swing, which is absolutely crucial to making good contact, because if we can't rotate properly, there's a really good chance that we're either going to sway a lot in the golf swing or we're going to lift a lot in the golf swing. And both of those things, if we do them excessively and not consistently, that can really affect how your ball striking is. So if we start things off with a good posture, what does that look like? There's always one line that I look out for. So ideally, when we set ourselves up to the golf ball, if we just stand really tall, the flex is going to come very slightly from the knees. So the knees just go slightly on top of the laces, just a small amount. Then there's more bend that comes from the waist, and then there's very little bend to come from the upper body. So a line that we always like to see is if we were to stick this golf club under your armpits, the front of your kneecaps and your shoelaces should all start to line up. That means that you've got a really good amount of knee flex. That means you've got a good posture. If you were to flex the knees too much, they would sit in front of that golf club. If you were to stand really far away from the ball and bend forward from the waist too much, or bend from the upper spine too much, those armpits would start to sit too far forward. That's going to throw you off balance. That means you're not going to be able to rotate the hips and the shoulders anywhere near as much, and that's when contact and distance really get affected. So it's worth giving that drill a go. Even place your hands behind your back. That gets your chest wide, that gets your neck long, that gets you standing really tall, and that's what we want to try and do to increase rotation as well. So hands behind the back, bend the knees very slightly, hinge forward from the waist, and then just let those arms hang. They don't need to be completely extended, you just want them to hang down. We want the elbow underneath the shoulder, okay? We want the elbows, we don't want them extended out in front, we want those hanging underneath. And then from there, we've got a really good opportunity to rotate well, not sway excessively, not lift excessively. You've got a good chance of starting to rotate in posture, which is absolutely crucial to good ball striking. So I want you to give that a try. So either do the golf club under the armpits and start to get a feel for how much knee bend, how much bend forward from the waist, let those arms hang, or the hands behind your back method, and start to get comfortable with that. And that would be my starting point for you, which would then lead us on to the next part. So good posture allows good rotation and good ball striking. So really important to get yourself set up before you start doing anything in swing. Number 2 is ball position. So a good ball position can influence how good your ball striking can be. A lot of golfers play the ball too far forward, and what that would tend to do, so if I place a 7-iron and I place it, so if we say here's centre, if I place it 2 inches to the left, all of a sudden that ball's quite far forward, and to get consistent contact, which leads us on to number 3, we want to have the lowest point of the swing after the golf ball. So you're striking ball first, ground second. If we with a 7-iron, 8-9 pitch and wedge start to place that ball too far forward, we're going to have to do something to move that low point forward. That might lead to you leaning way forward, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Weight transfer is required. If you can have a good ball position to start off with, that definitely makes things a lot easier. So general rule of thumb, if you're not sure where to put the ball, we want the back of the golf ball on your chest. So wherever your zip would be, wherever the buttons of your shirt would be, that's where we want it for a 7, 8, 9 and pitch and wedge, in that sort of zone. If you're playing a longer iron, so perhaps a 6-iron, 5-iron, 4-iron, then the best reference point to think about is any sort of badge that you would have, any sort of logo that you'd have on your jumper. So left side logo, that gets it slightly left of middle, because you want to launch those a little bit higher. You don't necessarily need to hit down on a 4-iron anywhere near as much as how much you need to hit down on a 7-iron. So number 1, posture. Number 2, ball position. Number 3 leads us on to concept. What needs to happen in order to get a consistent strike? We need to get ball first, we need to get ground second, we need that low point of the swing. So when your club bottoms out, where does it reach the bottom? That needs to be after the golf ball. So if we've got the golf ball, that club head is travelling down, down, down. We strike ball first, that hits high in the face, but the lowest point of this club head travelling should be about 2 to 3 inches after the ball. And if we can do that consistently, that is going to make such a big difference. That's what the tour players do when they get ball first, divot second, and that's what you can do if you can start to work on these things. So 2 excellent drills I really like to try out. So number 1 is just placing a piece of chalk or a line of chalk in front of the golf ball. It's going to be about 2 inches after the golf ball. So line is here, golf ball just behind, and the focal point is going to be the line. That's where we want the club to hit the ground. Ball first, line second. So we might even extend that line. We might try and do that in a practice swing. We set up to where the golf ball is, but we try and hit this line off of the mat. So we've hit the chalk. That means the low point moved forward. We can also do this off grass. Low point is here. Focus and eyes are on that chalk line. And we got ball first, chalk second. And that's what we need to try and do. That is absolutely crucial if we're going to get consistency of strike. Focal point is a chalk. Ball first, chalk second. So do that a lot. If you're at the driving range, take a piece of chalk, start to work on that. If you're playing off grass, you'll obviously see where you hit the ground. You could put a broken tee in front of the golf ball to mimic that line and try and hit that broken tee out of the ground. So that's a really good drill. Another drill you can do is grab your golf towel and place it about a grip length behind where that golf ball is going to be. So we place it about a grip length behind, and the aim of the game here, similar idea, and you can do this at the same time as the previous drill, is to make sure that we don't hit that towel. Because if we were to lean back, or if we were to release the club early, we might in fact hit that towel. So by having that there, that obstacle to miss, we're going to shift forward, hold our angles, and move our low point of the swing forward. A really good drill, the better you get at this, the closer you can move it to the ball. And we are trying to miss that towel. And we're going to move that slightly closer for the next one. So it's a little bit closer now, it's a little bit less than a grip length. The closer you make it, the harder it's going to be. That was another good contact, and we missed the towel. So excellent drill. I actually like to do the 2 at the same time. That's a really good one that's not that technical, but means you're working on the right things when you're practicing with your irons. So number 4 is weight distribution, and we're going to cover 2 things: where your weight is at the start and where it moves to in the downswing. Generally, if we're hitting an iron, we're obviously looking for that downward angle of attack. So it is a good idea to have a little bit more weight on the left leg than the right. So might be 55, 60% to the left, because as soon as we take that club away, it slightly shifts into the right. So starting slightly left generally helps people with their contact. So if you're not already doing so, 55 or 60% to the left to begin with. And again, that is really going to help those strikes. The weight starts on the left, it shifts to the right, then we need to get it to the left again. So as we're swinging close to the top, the best players in the world shift the weight left, and what we can clearly see in this sports box data, which is 3D analysis, we'll see that in this little avatar up here, is the best players in the world, from where their hips start to the point of impact, they move their hips 3 to 5 inches towards the target. And what does that do? That obviously shifts the weight forward, that moves the low point of the swing further forward, and that is one of the indicators of whether you're going to be a good ball striker or not. Best players in the world do it, best ball strikers in the world do it, so it's definitely something you need to try and really focus on. So start left, shift to the left. Really going to help the ball striking. And when you finish, we want to have most of that weight on the left leg. And finally, number 5, if you find that all of these things, you're not hitting the ball quite so good yet, it could possibly be because your club face is getting too open. Your brain reacts to the target. If your club face gets really open, what's probably going to happen is, and in most cases, you're going to release the club early, you're going to get quite flippy, and you're going to start to lose strike. So if that is you, look at strengthening the club face, so not having it as open in the backswing. How do we know what open is? Open at the top is when the toe hangs down. Square would be about a 45-degree angle. Open in the takeaway would be toe up or club face up. Square in the takeaway would be when the club face, the leading edge, matches the spine angle. So square, square. Open, open. So if you're one of those couple of potentials, you could strengthen your grip, you could flatten your left wrist. So flatter is going to close the face, more cupped is going to open. Flatter, same at the top, flatter left wrist is going to close the face, cupped is going to open the face. So that's one thing, just to keep an eye. If you do all the other things and you don't strike it quite as good as what you would like, definitely have a look at that club face in the backswing. So, simple guide, something you can take, simple steps that are really going to help you strike the ball better. Get a really good posture, that honestly makes such a big difference. Have an appropriate ball position for the club. Those 2 ball striking drills are fantastic, definitely give those a go. Weight moving forward is really important, and also having that face in a really good place makes life so much easier too. Don't forget, if you'd like some golf tips specifically to you, comment down below what you need help with, and we'll make sure that those videos get out onto the channel at some point. Don't forget to check out the description link below. You'll see here on the screen you can get a free golf lesson with me via the Skillest app. So give these things a try, start hitting those irons better, and start enjoying your golf even more.